This is the War Room Roundtable podcast, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant businessmen and women on the planet. Hear their stories and get the most important business lessons they've learned on the road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their successes into your life and business. The War Room Roundtable is brought to you by your hosts, Jason Miller, CEO of Strategic Advisor Board, and Phillip Lanos, CEO of Own the Rhythm, and former podcast host for Entrepreneur and Inc. magazine. Welcome to the War Room. Vikas, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Nice to see you guys.
Are you kidding me? I'm excited. I love doing this. Imagine we get to just tell stories that other people are going to learn from. For me, that's like, there's no higher calling in life for people than to share knowledge with each other. I think it's one of the only things, it's the most human thing we could possibly do.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so in the spirit of that, I was wondering if I could ask you, what was it like growing up? Did you come from a family of entrepreneurs that you were surrounded by, or was it hardworking people? What did it look like growing up?
I come from a very small town in India. It's a small town where getting a job is the biggest success in life. Okay, so if you are I was pressurized to get good grades, get a good job, and then serve the company for lifetime. It was like my mindset. It was built like this. Like entrepreneurs are considered as risk takers. People will tell me, don't go for entrepreneurship. Better stick to a job, make some money, get married, and get settled in life. That's how from where I come.
Wow.
But the thing is, yeah. So I did my schooling from the small town. After my schooling, I graduated. I went to a higher city because for the graduation, for the good job, you need to pass out from a good college. So I went to a prestigious college in India, in Jaipur. I got a mechanical engineering degree from there. I got a handsome job, handsome salary in a good job. I was 22 years old in 2006 when I passed out from that college. I had a good job in hand. I got a handsome salary. I got chefs. I got drivers. Everything was there, but something was missing in my life. I was not happy with it. I wanted to do something else. I had this passion to change some lives, reach more people. So in 2008, I quit my job and started a marketing venture. So it was risky. It was
Yeah.
risky. In 2000, I was just 24 years old, and some people were saying he will fail, and that's eventually happened. I didn't have an experience, so 2008 I started a marketing venture, but 2010 it failed. It failed brutally, and I was nowhere. Like I could not go back to a job because because things were difficult. At the same time, I was about to get married, so it was a bad phase of my life. So in 2010, I came back to the same city from where I graduated. I connected to my seniors. They were doing something, so I got in touch with them. I asked them what we can do because I am not going to go back and do a job now. So they guided me. In 2010, there is this one field that is called SEO, search engine optimization, that will boom in next 2 3 years. So if you can get some knowledge and you can start doing some freelancing projects, there is a career. So in 2010, it was not my passion that time. I needed bread and butter. So I thought, let's learn SEO. So I started learning SEO in 2010, and then there were some forums. I know if you remember or not, Warrior forums, Fire forums. So on those forums, we started taking freelancing projects. So in 2010 September end, we hit our first $3,000. So that's how it started for me.
You know what I love about the story is when you say you were taking risk, it wasn't just you taking the risk that every entrepreneur takes, right? Meaning, yeah. I don't know where the money's going to come from. You were taking a risk culturally from what everyone believes is acceptable at the same time. So when you say pressure, it was legitimately a social pressure. You know,
Yeah.
I I grew up in America and happened to step into business at a time when entrepreneurship was cool, sexy, and fun, which is
Oh.
completely the opposite of
Oh man.
where you're coming from. So it really teaches us to appreciate some of the things that are happening in different parts of the world and how even
Yeah.
despite those odds, people are
Yeah.
making
Yeah. Of
things
course.
happen. You know, that's what's powerful
Yeah.
about your story so far. Now, before I go any further, I want to check in with Jason because as a serial entrepreneur himself, I'm sure he can appreciate the kind of work you put into just getting where you are so far in the story.
Yeah, I will tell you that. I mean, I've been all over the world, and
Oh.
in my lifetime, I've traveled. I was in the military for 23 years, so I was all over the world. Someplace I didn't want to be, but you really got to see that cultural diversity when it comes to, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, so on and so forth. And it's interesting in some cultures are so discouraged from doing those kind of things, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into the it's right or wrong or any of that, but the point is some people overcome that and they take the leaps and they go out and I mean, they start things that are amazing for sure. And look at how many amazing stories come out of your country for when it comes to entrepreneurial success. There's a lot of them for
Yeah. There's a
sure.
lot. Yeah.
And you look at against all those odds, people do it, and you're doing it now. And we're breaching into a new era. So hopefully a lot of that culture shifts. And the pandemic changed a lot of that
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
everywhere. So to a degree. And so it's really about just you got to do what you got to do. And getting past some of those barriers sometimes is difficult, but at the end of the day, it's like my son always tells me, Dad, you just do you, man. Right? And that's what I just like to tell everybody else is, do you, be your authentic self and what you
Yeah.
want to be.
Yeah.
So coming back to the narrative here, you stepped into the world of SEO, not because it was your passion, it was still aligned with marketing, right? And there's a
Yeah.
key, there's a pivotal quality to what you said too. You reached out to your seniors, right? Now that's, we call them mentors, but it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like for
Yeah. Of
example,
course.
Jason is senior to me in business, therefore my mentor, right?
Okay.
So I love that you brought that out because you were resourceful, right? Many
Yeah.
people, and look, I'm especially guilty of this almost every day. I still find a way to be guilty of this. You have resources, you could ask questions, you name it. And the first thing you do, especially for hard-headed people like me, is like, no, I'm going to try and do this. I don't see why it's working. Have you thought of asking for some help? And so you did that at a pivotal moment. And that was important. So you step into SEO and you're right, because at that time it really blew up. I mean, look at Neil Patel, like
Yeah.
he blew up from helping people with that. So you get into that area and it goes well for you, I'm imagining, because now I want to get to where you are today with Sam Blogs, right? Correct?
Yeah. Samblogs.com. Yeah.
So what happens there? It takes off and it actually pays off for you?
Yeah, of course it does. It does. In the beginning, it was more of like, as I said, it was more of like bread and butter for me. I wanted to make some amount of money so that I can live my life without any issues, and so that's how it started in September 2010. But as I dig deeper, I started with myself. I was the only work who was talking to the client. I was only person who was doing the job. In fact, two people. We were two people, so that's how. Then we had two people more. Then we go to six people. Then today, if we talk about this, we are a team of 30 people in the office and 10 people who work for us for article writing. So we are a team of 40 people from 2010. It took time. It took time. There were so many failures, so many big things were there. But at the end of the day, it pays well. Last year we did 1 million USD turnover in last financial year, right? And in this year we got the best digital marketing, the fastest growing digital marketing company in Jaipur, in our city. So that's how far we have come. There were challenges, there were really bad days, there were bad decisions, but at the end of the day, once you have the vision and you have the never go give up attitude, that's how it pays off well. Right now, if I talk about today, I'm like I'm on holidays. Like I don't work, so like it's my passion. Now I can say it's my passion.
Oh, there's such a, pardon the lack of a better term, there's such a romance to your story, because there you were back in the day saying to yourself, this is what I want to accomplish, this is what I want to do, right? And then the world hits you right where it hurts and doesn't let you get up, and you had to shift everything and you focused on just the bread and butter, and it was looking like, I don't know, I just don't want to be without food and the basics of life. And
Yeah,
you know, you're
yeah,
struggling, you're about to get married, like you said, you're like, how
yeah,
could things get any worse?
yeah,
But
yeah,
you
yeah,
keep your head on straight, you ask your seniors for guidance, you're pushing through, and next thing you know, you start hiring people and things
yeah,
start coming together, and
yeah,
now generating $1 million, like, whoa, that's,
yeah, yeah,
you've got a real business on your hands, my friend.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And one of the fastest growing agencies on top of that. And that's great, because
yeah.
now, like you said, it went from I have to work to like, I can't wait to work and think of new things. You're now in an area where entrepreneurship can truly happen, because now it's your
Yeah,
vision that will
yeah,
dictate where the company is going to go and how the people are going to respond to everything. So it's a really exciting place for you to be. So I got to ask, if you could, being who you are now, go back and talk to the guy who just decided I'm going to quit my job, I'm missing something, it's just not, knowing how hard it was and knowing that there was no way you could have predicted that, what's one or two things you would have told yourself to help prepare for that journey that lies ahead?
it will be really hard one actually. If I go back today and say to meet to that guy, I will say two things. First, believe in yourself. Like things will happen. People won't believe you. They don't give a shit about your life, their problem. Your problem, they don't give a shit. So believe in yourself, first thing. Second, discipline. The best thing I've learned in my life is discipline. If I have to be somewhere at 10 a.m., I will be there at 10 a.m. If I have a client meeting at 2 a.m., my time, India time, I will be there at 2 a.m. If I have to work out at 12 p.m., I will work out at 12 p.m. Sometimes what happens, there is no motivation. Sometimes you feel lazy, but if you are a disciplined person, you know you have to get up, work out. That's it. That's the two things I will suggest myself. You believe in yourself and be disciplined. That's it.
Man. And you know, what's funny is someone could come in on just that moment. Let's say that was the only clip they saw and totally miss the context of what you're saying. And they're like, oh yeah, I believe in myself. You know, it's like, no, you have no idea when you're talking about where everyone was looking at you when you were doing something completely different from everyone socially
Yeah.
in terms of acceptability.
Correct,
And
correct,
then,
correct,
and
correct.
then adding to that, the fact that there's inherent risk in being an entrepreneur, like any given moment could be the last moment and everything falls
Yeah,
apart,
yeah, of
right?
course.
And then how much anxiety and doubt that fills your own head with, and how exercising at whatever hour you have to, how that's going to push you to be able to create that internal boundary from the noise from the outside world, right? And telling yourself, it's not about whether I feel like doing it, I have to do this.
Okay.
Now that starts to sound and look a little bit different. So I really appreciate that you said that in context of your story. Before we go any further, I want to check in with Jason again to hear some of his thoughts on the things that you said again.
Yeah. I mean, it's about routine, right? I mean, everything is about a routine. And you said it, your three things are this, right? And they're not the same for everybody, right? And
Yeah.
it's really what works for you. And I will tell you, in my own routine, if I miss something that day in my routine, it throws my whole day off, completely throws it all off. So it's about that consistency. It's about, whatever that routine is. If you're used to getting out of bed, making your bed, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, and then one morning you fly out of bed, get dressed and go to work, your day is going to look different. for sure.
Yeah.
It just will, because it's not consistent with the way you're used to doing things. And it's awesome to hear that, other fellow business owners like yourself have found your path there in that, because it takes a lot of people a considerable amount of time to figure that stuff out sometimes. And, that's a good thing. It's awesome.
Yeah, because I can't tell you how much I respect the hustle, the grind. And there's a counterculture to that. A lot of people are against it, but what you wanted wasn't the normal in your environment. And that's why it required you to take abnormal action and abnormal steps in an abnormal direction. And that's just consistent with what was required for what you desired. Right. So it's a really poetic thing. And again, you could look at how it is out here on the West, and it's like taken for granted, and we talk about this all the time, Jason and I. When the pandemic started, he mentions how many people reach out to him who were 19 years old, not much business success, not much life experience, and were calling themselves life coaches. Now, unless you're teaching me about how to use the next social media, I doubt there's much else you could offer, right? But your story shows a lot more than that, man. And I'm glad that we got to talk to you at this juncture of your journey. Before we go on to closing things out, I want to take a quick second, if you don't mind. I'd love to give a shout out to our supporters who made an episode like your story possible today. And that person today and that company is Joel Phillips of ProShark. So ProShark is a company that is the best friend of you, regardless of whether you're starting out or you're more established. And the reason why is because many business owners will choose tools, SaaS products for, let's say, cybersecurity, my shopping cart website, my CRM, my CMS, my content management system, the whole thing, right? Kind of ad hoc and whatever came first, and then you establish it and you forget about it. Only to realize that there might be a better option for you. And had you just started out and found out about what ProShark can do for you and get you set up with your tech stack in a way that's going to expand and scale with your company as you grow, well, that would be invaluable when you're starting out, but it's just as valuable, or invaluable, I should say, when you're established and you know that your tools were kind of just chosen at random. You thought it was the best decision. You're not sure. You're not necessarily a CTO yourself. Your CTO, you're not even sure if they're sure, right? So ProShark can help you take care of all of that. And that's why if you go to ProShark's website and tell them that you heard about them on the War Room podcast, they're going to roll out the red carpet for you. In fact, if I make sure, you can go to proshark.com and they will legitimately, they have it set up. So they have a system. If you go there and you tell them we sent you, they're going to take care of you. So proshark.com. With that said, I want to roll out the red carpet for you, Vikas. Where should people go to connect with you? Maybe learn more about your story and what you're up to now, but also, is there anything you want them to know that they should know about you?
Yeah, sure. People can connect me on my email, sam@samblogs.com. They can connect me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is the Vikas Singal, @the Vikas Singal. Also, for the small business owners, I will suggest them do check out our site, samblogs.com, and they should start investing in SEO ASAP.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I can't think of a single thing that would do more for a business, whether it's establishing authority, right? Or establishing visibility through search engines. It's literally why it's called search engine optimization. And it's like one of the most pivotal things that people have to do for their business. And when they now have a story to connect to your business, they know what kind of integrity and character is running the show. And I think that says a lot. So for me, I want to check in with Jason. I think we've made time for the grand finale here. If you, Vikas, could have invited anyone to the show today, who would you have loved to have had here, and why them?
Difficult one. I will go with Sachin Tendulkar. I'm not sure if you know him. He's a cricketer, Indian cricketer, Sachin Tendulkar. He plays cricket for India. So he's Sachin Tendulkar. So he's like my ideal personality in life. He's a big name in India. So if I had the opportunity, I must have invited him, and because I would have asked him how he handles pressures, how he handled the pressure of 1 billion Indian people who loved him.
Wow. It wasn't until a few days ago. I know it sounds insane. I've been doing this for like 7 years or so. And most of the time, things were going pretty well. On occasion, it wouldn't be ideal. But lately, more and more, I began to realize that some of these pressures, they're not just happy accidents, and they might not even be every now and then. It's just going to be a reality of the life of entrepreneurship. And I love that you
Yeah.
use that phrase, because it can be overlooked and people could just think it's a run of bad luck. No, this is just what comes with the territory. And you're either going to have the character development necessary to overcome it, or
Yeah.
you're going to sink. It's a sink or swim thing. And so I love that you say that. And talk about athletes. We've had that conversation on the show many a time. It's a different kind of discipline, and so I can really appreciate the sentiment there, man. And especially when you start getting success, right? How do you deal with that? That's an even
Yeah.
harder one. Like if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
struggling and you have obstacles, that's one thing, but then you have success
Yeah.
on top of that, forget about it.
Yeah.
Right. No,
It's a
man,
different thing. Yeah.
it's been a real pleasure talking to you, but it is tradition around here for Jason to close us out. So I'm gonna let him do that. But I got to say, man, it's been fun talking to you.
It's same here, man. Same.
Yeah, great story. I got to tell you, great story of adversity, story of, I'm going to do my own thing, right? Which is fantastic. And I always like to say we all have the same 168 hours a week. Thanks for stopping by for 25 minutes and spending it with us. And before I go, I have to give a small shout out to somebody we talked to last Friday. It's a little company called Tony's, and
Okay.
they make this really neat toy for children. It's a little red box, and it's interactive, and you put the toy on top of it, and then it's interactive with the child in a way different way, not the typical screen, right?
Okay.
So we have
Okay.
what we do? We give our kids a screen and say, here you go. Here's an iPad, have at it, right?
Yeah.
Well, very seldom do I ever do this, by the way. But these guys are really trying to change how our children learn separate from a
Okay.
screen. And I just wanted to really mention that on the show. So people could go check them out. Tonys.com. Very, very cool. But anyway, back to you.
No, yeah, that was a super awesome
Yeah,
conversation. I just want to add, it's one of those things where a lot like when SEO first came around and started to help things change from the big billboards and what have you. Now imagine a change like that, but with the mental health of our kids in mind. That was something that for me, it was a rare opportunity and I'm glad that you brought that up, because it was one of those things that we wanted to share. It really is just great, because it's one of children and tablets and electronics. I'm not sure if you got married, but do you have children, Vikas?
Yeah, I have 9 years old.
Oh man. Yeah. And I remember when I was a kid, playing outside was just the thing we did. Our parents didn't even want us anymore.
Yeah.
And now it's like, stay where I could see you. Here's a tablet. And that, yeah. So kind of changing that up, and it's like a different version of Legos, but way better. And it's just awesome. So, but anyways, I'll let Jason close us out as he was doing.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, thanks for being here, my friend. Again, great story. Thank you. I know the time's way different over there. So for you to be here at this time it just shows a lot of your character right there too. So
it's my pleasure, guys. Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you. It was great to be on your show.
Oh man.
Right.
Absolute
Cheers.
pleasure. Take it easy, brother. Thanks for listening to the War Room Roundtable with your hosts, Jason Miller and Phillip Lanos. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and always remember, if you can dream it and believe it, then you can go achieve it. We'll see you in the next episode.